welcome first the former Australian Open champion in Stuart Bingham!
Hi, it's Stuart Bingham, the first of 2 matches for you tonight. How bizarre is that?
It's a normal day at the office for me.
Do you prepare differently at all, knowing you've got 12 frames to play? And a wait as well in between?
Not really. I've sort of had a bit of a sleepless night last night with a little one, so that ain't going to help, but I have some energy drink.
And you're feeling good. Neil Foulds, quite rightly, has said that it's in your hands tonight. You know, you win your 2 games, you go through to the semi-final stages. He also said you have the biggest hands he's ever seen and hold a world record for most amount of snooker balls in them. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think so. 10, I think.
10? Go on, just put them up to the camera. Man, they're big hands. And hopefully they're going to do the right thing tonight on the table and get you the wins that you need. Does it add pressure to you knowing that it is in your hands, and if you're successful, you go through, and if you don't, obviously you don't?
I'm just going to try and treat it like I've been sort of for the first couple of games. I'm just going to come out, enjoy, go for everything, and see what happens.
Good luck. Stuart Bingham, everyone. Stuart's opponent is the current world number 1.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's meet the world number 1, the 2-time Masters champion, the jester from Leicester, Selby!
Hey, I was just thinking when you were coming down the stairs there that I mentioned you're obviously world number 1. What's better, what's bigger for a snooker player, world number 1 or world champion?
I mean, for me, be world champion. I mean, it's great to get world number 1. Don't take that away from yourself, but at the end of the day, I'd definitely swap it to be world champion.
Okay, you are world number 1, but that counts for nothing in the Premier League. You played 2. You're bottom. Why is that?
Well, it doesn't matter to me. I'm such a happy-go-lucky person, so it makes no difference.
But it must annoy, because this is one of the biggest events on the snooker calendar, probably behind the World Championship, the UK, and perhaps the Masters. It's up there, thereabouts, and it's one I know you haven't won yet, and one I know you want to win as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great tournament to be in. I mean, there's so many great players. Like you say, Stuart's obviously another one of them, so, I mean, it's tough this year. There's 10 players in it, and 5 in a group, and only 2 go through, so there's going to be 3 top players what go out.
And just a quick word about Stuart, you mentioned it there, turned pro in 1995, been a professional now for 17 years. His game's just coming together at the right time, isn't it?
Yeah, he is. I mean, he's always been a great player, and like you say, he's proved it over last year when winning the Australian, so it's going to be a tough game tonight, but I'm looking forward to it.
Ready to skip over to your seat?
Yeah, I'll skip over there, and I can hold 5 in my hand.
Just 5 in your hand. Good luck, Mark Selby, everyone. Quick reminder, you can tweet me a question that I will ask the winner of this game throughout this match. To send your tweet to @SkySnooker. Let's join our boys in the box. Neil Foulds, and first up, the wonderful Clive Everton.
So it's world number 1 Mark Selby, who has enjoyed that ranking for the last 13 months. Although he's currently being chased hard for it by both Judd Trump and John Higgins. And his opponent, Stuart Bingham, world number 10, which is the highest he's ever been.
And a very dangerous player in any format, but in the Premier League, with his fluency, 25 seconds a shot is not an issue for him, I don't think, not very often anyway. Not delighted with his opening shot there of pushing the red a little close to the top right pocket, but not hanging over it exactly. Those are not easy shots from that kind of length.
The red crawls to the cushion. That was just a safety. Red played to the right-hand jaw of the pocket and back across.
Yep, he had a look at that, but it was always left jaw, as you saw there. It might just creep in as he covered it. He has. Brown's in the way. So it's worked out all right. The first proper mistake.
Yes, that was an attempted pot, using the cushion first, but went across it just a little bit too much, overcut it in the end.
It's worked out well. I suppose he tried to cannon the red as well as the black there. Definite signs that he's playing better, Mark Selby.
8.
Form dipped just before the World Championships, got a neck injury which is much better now, so he says.
9.
Played poorly at Sheffield, I don't think he was at his best there, lost to Barry Hawkins easily. But since then, he's had some good results. Won the Paul Hunter Classic. But just at the weekend, again, signs that he was playing well over in Antwerp. PTC event where he got to the final. Run into one that day.
Yes, in that final, Mark Allen made centuries in each of the first 3 frames. So that put Selby up against it.
I think someone like Allen on that form is the kind of player who could just blow anybody away. Because he's that kind of a
24.
performer. If it's his day, then everyone's in trouble. But I still think that Mark Selby is coping with his world #1 position a little better maybe now than he was 7 or 8 months ago. Okay, we know he's had problems with that neck, and you don't really want a neck injury as a snooker player. You don't want one in any walk of life, obviously, but there's been a wear and tear perhaps on that. I think rest was the only thing that would have done him any good.
Yes, he had a bulging disc between C4, C5. Selby takes advantage of one of the 2 time extensions he's permitted in each frame.
Well, he deserves to be on something. I mean, he may not have gone into those very firmly, but he really does deserve to be on a red here. I think if you played this any firmer, I don't think he'd have got the angle to go into the pack. That's why he didn't really give it some extra. Well, he's running out of time here. He's used them both already. That may come back to haunt him later in the frame. Well, it may be a factor that both extensions have been taken. Because if anything comes across now that's a little awkward, then he's just got to play the shot. One thing you know about this table is that the balls are in great positions. From here, one chance could be an absolute frame-winning opportunity. Oh dear, called it horribly thick, that one. Well, that was about quarter ball, and he hit it, I'd say, at half a ball. It was a terrible safety shot. Well, he may not want to take the black because when it's respotted, the red that's near the black spot will cover it, but I don't suppose he's got much choice. He would like to play the pink if he could.
Time extension.
And he's giving it some extra thought now. That he'd love to play on that red by the black spot. That would open everything up.
Seven. 8.
Well, that's what he was hoping for. Now he's on that red.
30.
That means he can take the black.
Stuart Bingham, 30.
Absolutely straightforward. Nothing difficult about it whatsoever.
Well, he's doing nothing with the cue ball at all here. He's just trying to knock this in. I mean, it's not like he's got anything else on his mind than the pot. So that was a terrible miss. Selby relieved to be back at the table so quickly.
Six.
With no time extensions, he can't hang about in putting that extension on his cue. Made it with 5 seconds to spare.
It's a good point that he has to just be quickly into his stride and very fluent in this break. Got nothing that he can take a long time over because he's used his extensions up.
Fourteen.
Understood.
50.
A little straight on this, no angle to speak of. He's got to play the screw back off the cushion and up. Well controlled.
22.
Dear. And he must have thought that he could just slide straight past the blue. And again, this is where the fact that he doesn't have any extensions can be an issue. He's got to play an unconventional shot, a shot that needs some thought. And he's got he's not much time to play it. He's going to have to get his skates on here. He has no extensions left.
Global.
There's an example sometimes of having too much thinking time. It's not a good thing. He had to play the shot quickly. He played it with no fear in the end.
Oh, Selby, 28.
Well, Neil and I both thought that Selby would clinch the frame at that visit. But he's only 43 in front before he missed that Relatively simple red with the rest. That was another good chance for Bingham. Pretty well a straight red to middle.
Bit of pressure on this one though. Not straightforward. Oh dear, it's a difficult shot to roll. I thought he would play it with a little bit of stun on this perhaps, but to roll it in it was always missable. It's a horrible shot. It's one of the shots that you don't want to be left with.
Anyway, Selby didn't leave a pot on. Well, there was a lot of distance involved.
Yeah, and it was a little straight as well, and it's the kind of shot that you've got to try and find an angle on that to swing the cue ball round. Anyway, somehow Bingham has got this chance. Now, how confident is he, having missed two pretty easy shots, one of them into the corner pocket, very easy, because it can drain a player's confidence when he misses shots like that. But again, the balls are very well placed.
9.
You made a good point pre-match, Neil, that Bingham doesn't want to lose this match because it wouldn't leave him in great fettle for his second match, which, the way the league table is standing,
17.
is probably even more important to him than this one.
Yeah, I mean, if he could win them both, he would be in a good position to make the semi-finals. I know he'd love that. He's always one of these guys, first time in the league, but when he's not playing snooker, he'd be watching it, and he would have seen a lot of the Premier League over a number of years, and longed to be here. And now he is. Chance to make the playoffs. He can clear up here. A couple of easy shots he missed will count for nothing. Confidence will be restored. However, getting on the last red, where he's finished, isn't straightforward. He would like to have been straighter on this blue. That's not a bad shot. Most of the time he'd have played onto the red into the left corner. And this is an easier shot than this. Into that pocket earlier in the frame. And he hit it. Overcut it slightly. Not this time.
50. $32. 34.
Prime position now to win the frame.
$37. 41.
Just blue and pink needed.
Yeah, and he's turned this frame around. He's done well actually, because he'd have been rattled by missing a couple of pots.
Both players in this opening frame with pots that they wouldn't normally miss, but it's Stuart Bingham with a 52 clearance to the pink, who takes a 1-0 lead. The first match of the evening. Stuart Bingham leads Mark Selby by a frame to nil. The eagerly awaited clash between Judd Trump and John Higgins is next, and the third match sees Bingham in action again against Neil Robertson.
Thank you. Second frame. Stuart Bingham to break.
You're looking at two players who fell helplessly in love with snooker at an early age. Mark Selby has never wanted to do anything else for a living but play snooker. Stuart Bingham the same.
Yeah, I mean, in an era when a lot of players would argue that they play enough snooker and they enjoy their time away from the game, but I think you're right, these two have always been the same. Always like playing. Stuart Bingham has played in just about every tournament that he can over the years I've known him, whether it be a Pro-Am somewhere in London, as well as all the big events. Of course, they've got no time now to be playing in minor events. A few summers ago, Mark Selby, in his summer off from the game, he played a lot of 8-ball, and I think he won the World 8-ball Championships on the small pub tables glide, didn't he? And of course he wouldn't have that time to spare now to be involved in that.
No, he wouldn't. That success was under the auspices of the English Pool Association. It was 8-ball, but there are an enormous number of governing bodies in pool. You can't keep abreast of all of them.
No, but it was at a time in snooker when there weren't that many tournaments and players were complaining of being part-timers, and the same players are complaining now that they're burnt out. So there's got to be a happy medium, and it's good to see everyone playing a lot of snooker. A lot of money up for grabs in these events. It's definitely a full-time occupation nowadays.
Bingham has been a professional since he won the World Amateur Championship in Invercargill, New Zealand, in 1995. Came within one match of defending that title successfully. Lost to Marco Fu in Bulawayo the following year. You do see the world as a snooker player if you're good enough. Both Selby and Bingham are off to China tomorrow afternoon to play in China's International Championship in Chengdu.
Now, this red will cut to the left middle. I don't know how much Bingham wants to play it, because the key ball could just crash into the reds. He'll have no idea where it'll finish. But if it goes in, there is a good chance he'll be on something. Yeah. I tell you, it could have finished an awful lot worse than that. Cue ball ended up in bulk. That was by luck.
Yes, I was thinking as he played that shot, if he misses this, he's bound to leave Selby in. Intended to screw back a little nearer to the ball cushion than that.
Yeah, and of course Bingham's hand is now on the table for his next shot, which Means you could have a go at something here. Selby knows it.
Has lost the cue ball though.
Yeah, to the extent where he won't even think about going for the black, thin black. I think Selby got away with one there from the previous shot.
Stuart Bingham 1. One.
Well, Bingham had a chance to take advantage of a substandard safety, but he's lost position immediately.
Yeah, he's got to play off the yellow here. Might just use a touch of left-hand side, which will take the cue ball upwards towards the right of the table. It's not one of his
Stuart Bingham 1.
best ever safety shots, but I suppose just a question of keeping things a little tight. He's stolen the first frame in many ways, and I suppose it does bring the pressure back onto Mark Selby, who needs a spectacular win tonight if he's got any chance of making it through the playoffs. The first frame is not the one he wanted to start with.
Yes, Selby needs to win big tonight and also win big in his last match, because he starts the evening having won 3 frames but lost 9.
Well, this time he is on a colour. I think he can cut the brown in, and whether he feels he's not on it particularly nicely, he may not want to play it actually. I mean, I think he's actually going to play safe again. So that's 3 reds where he's not really on a colour at the start of this frame. I think it would sneak in, but he just doesn't fancy it. Don't blame him. The more I look at it, the more it looks difficult.
Stuart Bingham 1.
Well, it could go over.
Extension.
He's had a good long look at this. Well, he could have gone that way, but he'd have to be very careful. The way he's going, he's hoping that he'll just lay on a ball here.
5
Well,
minutes.
he's gone the other way there.
Bingham 4.
Well, attempted the smother shot just to reach the red.
So there were a couple of smother shots, as Clive called it, available there, and the one that he's playing is just it's the one cushion. But he's just got to get the pace right more than anything. You know, the angle is not really a problem hitting the red. It's just a question of not hitting it too hard. And I think he has hit it too hard, because I think he's left something. It wasn't a good shot from Selby, was it? And don't say another red. That's 4 reds in a row with no colour available. He's going to play off the yellow for safety, and he'll be looking to get in behind green and brown. That's all he can do. But his patience will be wearing a bit thin, getting all these chances
Time extension.
and not doing anything with them. Because you know that you leave your opponent one chance and he'll probably clear up.
Stuart Bingham 1.
He played it in the way he did. He's worried about leaving that red near the left corner.
One.
At least he's got a shot at the black, but even then he's not perfectly on it.
Eight. Nine.
Great chance now.
40.
It certainly is. You just feel that he probably believed he'd have to play a little better to have the chance to go 2-0 up against the world number one than he has. But it
15.
doesn't matter if he wins the frame. It'll be Selby's concern, not his.
$21. 22. 29. 30. 37.
On his way to a 2-0 lead now. I think he did well at the start of this frame.
38.
Just knocking those reds in a no colour can be very frustrating, but he kept his patience with that, because you can get sucked into believing that your opponent will get one chance and beat you in the frame, but he's showing enough patience
45.
to realise that doesn't have to be the case. This is an ideal start now that he is going to go 2-0 up here. To ensure that he does, he needs another red after this, and then it will be 2-0.
$51. 52.
Well, Bingham's well past the winning post to 2-0.
58. 59.
The idea was always to develop the yellow, but he wanted the cue ball to come further away from the cushion than that. Still got a chance though. Overcut it.
59 and the frame.
59 was more than enough to guarantee him the frame though. Stuart Bingham leads Mark Selby by 2 frames to 0. Breaks of 52 and 59 have been key for Stuart Bingham to take a 2-0 lead over Mark Selby. Judd Trump v John Higgins next, and Bingham back in action in the third match of the evening against Neil Robertson.
Thank you. The third frame. Mark Selby to break.
Well, Mark Selby is not going to win by a heavy margin, which he certainly needed to do to give himself even a glimmer of a chance of qualifying for the playoffs. And if he's going to win at all, he's got to win the remaining 4 frames. Not a potting attempt.
I mean, snooker's at a funny stage at the moment whereby you've got Mark Selby, who's clearly the world #1, but you could argue there's 3 or 4 other players are playing at least as well as him in the game. And, you kind of wonder, if asked, who would be the best player in the world right now. I think there's half a dozen you could say we're up there with a chance of being that, given that title.
Well, the way they played in the Shanghai Masters final, you've got to say John Higgins, Judd Trump. The way that Mark Allen played in the Antwerp Open final last weekend, he's got to be in there somewhere. But the old expression comes into play, it's on the day.
I think it is at the moment. And, week in, week out, Selby has been the biggest point scorer, and he is the clear world #1.
One.
But I wouldn't argue that he's clearly the best player. I think he's, as I say, one of a few.
Well, what Selby does do, he plays every week, tries his best, not
6.
too proud to pick up a few points from a minor tournament, whereas some of the top players save themselves for the major ones.
No, I'm a big Selby fan and I like his game. He's a very dangerous player, and I saw him play a little section of snooker at the Championship League just around the time of last year's Masters, where he played some of the best snooker I've seen over 4 or 5 days. Wouldn't count as the biggest tournament ever, but
30.
Hasn't really got going today, and the man he's playing has got a real purposeful step now going on out there, knowing that with 2 matches to play, he could almost book a place in the playoffs this evening.
18.
Well, in this frame,
90.
he shows every sign of exploiting pretty heavily Selby's first mistake.
$26.
Of course, we have to mention our good friend Ronnie O'Sullivan in that as being one of the best players, because he is the world champion, but he'll be back in action in full ranking tournaments in China next week, so that'll be interesting. Although I did read somewhere that he's considering not playing for much longer again, although I've heard that before.
Well, only about 50 times.
That'll still be good to see him playing again. Bingham has picked up the vibes here, hasn't he? That he's clearly in better form than the man he's playing. So he missed a couple of sitters in the first frame. That is a distant memory now for him anyway.
43.
I've always liked his fluency around the table and thought that he would always be suited to the format in the Premier League. Playing shots quickly doesn't really affect him. He is a fluent player.
48. 49.
He's always been a very good player, but it's only in the last 2 or 3 seasons that he's really acquired that fine edge of confidence to put a string of good results together. Bit unlucky with that pack opener there, when it seemed as if he was about to clinch a 3-0 lead.
Touching ball.
Yeah, he was a bit unlucky, wasn't he, in the end there, as Clive said. That breaking of the pack didn't quite work out.
Stuart Bingham, 54.
Well, got to stop there, I'm afraid, with 54. He was unfortunate when he tried to go into the reds that he clung to one like that. I wonder how much Selby fancies this red by the pink. Not much, I wouldn't say. It's a considerably better shot than going for the pot.
There was a natural route back to ball, provided he got anywhere near the pot. Bit unlucky to clip a red over the pocket. It's always possible when you're playing a shot
One.
with in which several balls are going to move.
Yeah, the kiss wasn't very good on the red, which meant that he wasn't able to pot the pink. Now, he would like to get a colour safe. If he's not going to go for a pot, he'd like the colour to go on a side cushion. Bottom cushion, anything will do.
Stuart Bingham.
Not really get the blue safe there, but he's played it well and he retains the advantage. It's nice though if you can put balls in awkward positions when you've got a good lead in a frame. Makes your opponent's chance of clearing up far less. I'm sure I know what he played there. I don't think he played to hit the red. I think he played to lay on the red that he's finished closest to and just avoid the red on the side cushion, I guess. I think it's cost him the frame.
One.
He's having the cue ball clean, which counts it in his own time, but he knows that he'll still have plenty of seconds to play the shot.
Seven.
Here comes 3-0.
Eight.
Bingham kept Selby scoreless in the last frame,
30.
and he has in this one as well.
14. Stuart Bingham, 14 and a frame.
So Stuart Bingham wins the second and third frames without his opponent scoring, and now leads by 3 frames to 0. Three half centuries have featured as Stuart Bingham has taken a 3-0 lead over Mark Selby. Bingham in action again in the third match against Neil Robertson. That's after Judge Trumpy John Higgins. And this is Group A as it stands. Stuart Bingham already sure of a draw this evening, but obviously he's hoping to convert that into a win.
Thank you, frame 4. Stuart Bingham to break.
Well, I thought he'd get that with his hand very much on the table at mid-range. When Selby comes to the table now, typically as someone who's behind, the black's a little tied up. The colours are not really there for him just yet. Well, that might have not have worked out all that bad. I mean, there's no way in the world he could have played that shot. But I tell you what, he's got to go for the black because he's got the red over the pocket. And he's under a lot of pressure on this. Yeah, so he's going for time extensions. He's got extensions out to play the shot with and everything here. He's got to go in.
The only thing we haven't got is a licensing extension.
Well, I tell you what, he could easily miss this and as good as over this match, I think, because it will be a great chance. So this has to go in. A horrible shot to be left with. Ooh, one of those nights for Mark, isn't it, so far? Nothing's really going in. Will he play into the pack here and really smash the balls open? Decided not to. With top spin he played it. Kept it under control. Wonderful chance to close out the match.
Eight. 9.
Well, that wasn't exactly how he played it.
No, I take it. The result of the nudge on that. Red.
70. $22. $23.
No spot for the pink, so it goes as near as possible to it in a direct line between its own spot and the black spot.
29.
As near as possible the nearest ball without touching.
30.
I don't know if he played it exactly like that, but I'll tell you what, it's worked out well.
37.
He may have done. It's hard to see what he could have played differently. And that's a nice shot as well. He almost played that safely, screwing back past the blue. Now, do we think he played this? Difficult to say. There's only half the red sticking out, I think. Would have been an extremely good shot if you'd have thought of that one.
I think he played to cannon the top of the bunch in some way, shape or form.
Yeah, which he did.
$42. Time extension.
Well, if you want to exterminate an insect, you've got to do it in your own time.
Yeah, I think he's
48.
he's in complete control here.
49.
It's a match that Selby's never really got into. Probably should have won the first frame. Since then, he's not really
56.
played any part in this match. Since then, he's only potted, well, one ball since he lost the first frame. And that was where he left himself very awkwardly on the black in the start of this frame.
Yes, prior to potting that red in this frame, he was on the wrong end of a run of
64.
188 unanswered points. 3 half-century breaks in that figure.
So we're back on the run of points now for Stuart Bingham again. So it's been a very one-sided match. And as I was saying earlier on, he won't mind playing again tonight, having won this. Not so easy when the player has lost to come out and build himself up for another match.
73.
Players earn £1,000 for every frame they win.
80. 81.
And £1,000 for every century break. So Bingham has a great chance to supplement his income here.
88. 89. 95. 96.
101.
His confidence has grown frame by frame in this match. And as I said, he really does run around the table and take long over any shots.
106. 110. 115. 121.
Excellent. The clearance of 128 extends Stuart Bingham's lead to 4-0. Stuart Bingham has made 3 half-centuries in a century in taking a 4-0 lead over Mark Selby, which assures him of the 2 points with 2 frames to play. It's Judd Trump with John Higgins next, and Neil Robertson versus Stuart Bingham to finish off the evening. Now Mark Selby has potted only 1 ball in the last 3 frames. But with his professional attitude, I'm sure he's not going to let the last 2 frames slide as well. He's also got proper respect for £1,000, I think.
I think so. He wouldn't want to get whitewashed in this match. We don't see very many of those over the years. I don't remember too many 6-0s. We've had them, but they're a rarity. He wouldn't want to be on that list after tonight. That would have been even. One of the colour. The black doesn't go in the middle because I think the red's in the way. It must be very tight if it does.
Mark Selby 1.
Go for it there. Just play the cue ball near the cushion. Just one of those nights. You can sometimes have matches at this game where after it you feel like you've not played at all, not even had a match. I think it'd be one of those nights for Mark. He probably doesn't think he's been playing snooker here. Just gone a little bit numb. An opponent who started to get more and more confidence going. He's up against. And even that shot, playing the safety shot, and while it was a mistake, he's paid the full penalty. Oh dear.
One. Six.
It was a nice shot if he's on the pink. Clever little cannon there.
Pink on the black spot.
14. $19. $20. $25.
No. Played that one poorly. Don't know 26. If it was a bad contact or what happened, but of course you want to be above it and nowhere near that middle pocket. Means you can't do much with this. I tell you what, saying that, he can't play that well. That is confidence because he's right in the jaws of the middle pocket 31. There. A good piece of cueing.
Bingham outscoring Selby 7-1.
And as you said, a lot of those points that Selby scored were in the first frame, 58 of them. Since then, he's barely potted a ball.
37. Thanks. 38.
I said that in the first game. Put it again.
44.
No
45.
concerns that the black is awkward, just able to win the frame around the pink spot.
$51. 52. Time extension.
They're using the extension here just to ensure that he signs and seals his fifth frame. Just needs a little bit more time just to make sure that he can play behind the red. Yeah, I think that's a good way of playing it around two cushions, worth giving that extra bit of thought.
58. 59.
The way this is going, this promises to be a very remunerative evening for Bingham.
$65.
It's going to be 5-0 at least, and I don't think many people would bet against 6-0 the way things are going.
No, and the chance of another century, and the chance of a load more in his final match as well. So you're right. This could be a very nice evening
66.
for Stuart Bingham. The wait between matches will be a pleasant one, I would think.
$73. 74. $80. 81.
'Played that well. Nicely straight on the red to the middle pocket.
88. $89. 95.
The expression, give him a big hand,
97.
acquires a new meaning in Bingham's case.
100.
Back-to-back senses then.
Pretty sure he'd have been a very, very good goalkeeper, but he's making enough money playing snooker, thankfully.
104.
And it's good to see him playing like this, because I think everyone in the game knows he's extremely capable of a performance like this.
109.
Yeah, consecutive centuries. All is good with Stuart Bingham.
115.
Nicely played with one inside, he's playing all the shots. Great to see. Brilliant.
Great on the 128 and the 122 in consecutive frames. Leave Stuart Bingham 5-0 up with 1 frame to play. Stuart Bingham is trouncing Mark Selby, 5-0 up. Bingham is. He's made centuries in the last 2 frames. Jug Trumpy John Higgins next, and Bingham back in action against Masters champion Neil Robertson in the evening's final match.
Thank you. The final frame. Stuart Bingham to break.
In the last 4 frames, Selby has potted only 2 balls.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't start off quite like this, did it? Where we saw Bingham miss a couple of balls in the opening frame, and generally speaking, he looks a little bit edgy, but he's grown in confidence so much that he's starting to play really, really well now.
Well, didn't hit it as he wanted to anyway, and by catching the middle pocket jaw, he made it worse.
Yeah, he can hardly do anything right tonight. Even the safety, which is, I would say, one of his strongest points, has not been very good. Saying he's been playing a lot better. I mean, you'd say that watching this, that never seen him play quite so badly, but at the weekend he reached the final of a PTC event in Belgium, played some really good stuff to get there. I don't think his game is in bad shape. I just think he's having a real off day against an opponent who is starting to knock everything in.
Oh well, the potting machine's broken down.
Yeah, it always looks worse when you hit the red on the way through to the pocket. It clearly went. As you can see, there was never any doubt it went. That's not even turned out very good. Dear, oh dear. He's probably got to cut one back into the right corner. And again, it would have to be called a missable shot.
Pretty good shot, but not assisted by a run of the ball, which could have maybe knocked the colour out into a better position.
Yeah, I don't think he wants to play safe here when it might normally be the shot. Yeah, I think he would have been embarrassed to have played a safety shot there. He's seen his opponent knocking back-to-back hundreds. He knows the match is over. His chance in the Premier League is over, so he goes for it because he just wants to make something happen. It wasn't an easy pot.
Well, if Selby could win this frame, at least he would cover his expenses for the evening and have a little bit to show. But above all, it's pride of performance. Still giving of his best, even in a hopeless situation. Even 5-0 up, Bingham didn't commit himself to that pot. Took the cue ball away well into baulk in case he missed it.
Those times you play it as a shot to nothing, red goes in, hope to get a cannon on another red and stay on a colour, but the whole shot went perfectly. Now they'll play safe here. He would like this whitewash, there's no doubt. He'd like to win 6-0. It would be a notable result for him against the world number one. Wasn't one of his best safety shots though.
One.
Oh dear, I mean it was thin, but he misjudged it pretty badly. It's been a bit of a nightmarish evening, hasn't it, for Selby? We started early, didn't we, with the matches? Sort of, he'd like this to be beyond the watershed, I think, with Selby, where he wouldn't want to be watching it late at night. The way that the match has gone for him, someone who takes such pride in his play, and he's had a horrible match.
3. 4.
Bingham 5-0 up in just short of 70 minutes. If he makes the most of this, it'll be 6-0.
11. Time extension. 19. 20. 27.
'Always there, wasn't it? When he left jaw, played fairly slowly.
If Bingham does win this frame, it would complete the first Premier League whitewash of the season.
Yeah, I think they're fairly rare. I seem to remember one that sticks in my mind was Ding Junhui. Did it to
35.
Stephen Hendry. I think Hendry didn't pot a ball until about the 5th or 6th frame. He was getting absolutely obliterated by Ding in one of his matches. Going back a few seasons now, but they're very rare in the Premier League because you've got the great players in the world and difficult for one player to win such a large share of all the frames. But it's going to happen here by the looks of things.
Yeah, that was the match in which Ding set a record of 495 unanswered points.
Yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say if that happens, you're not going to win many frames, and that was the case. It was a 6-0, and it's not quite been like that, but it's not been that far away from that sort of dominance. I mean, since frame 1, as Clive has made reference to on more than one occasion, I mean, Selby has scored something like 7 points since frame 1, so it is as one-sided almost as the match that we're speaking about.
This red will secure the whitewash.
Would have been a difficult scoreline to predict, wouldn't it? Probably of all the possible options, the outsider really, a 6-0 win for either player, but for Stuart Bingham, it wouldn't have been favourite, but it's been ever so one-sided, this.
50.
Well, good on Mark Selby for labouring on. 5-0 down and needing 2 4-point snookers.
What?
Many players would have just shook hands at that point, but he's going to play it out to the last.
Eight. Mark Selby, 8.
$39 the difference, 35 on.
Well, that will be it.
One.
Well, the mother of all trouncings.
Five. Stuart Bingham, 5.
Stuart Bingham whitewashes Mark Selby 6-0. He makes 2 centres in doing so. He's £8,000 the richer. And we'll see if he plays as well as that against Neil Robertson in the last match of the evening.